Okay, they've noticed me. This may actually not go well. Hi guys, I'm Neodyinamite, and welcome back to Depraved. Welcome back to the little guide videos that I'm running for the game currently. If you don't know Depraved, Depraved is basically, well, let's say a town building game set in the Wild West of North America. Basically, you end up in an island in the middle of nowhere, and you're supposed to establish a thriving city, more or less. If you have been watching the previous episode, we've covered the basics. So if you have came here and you're looking for the basis of how to set up a proper city, I recommend that you're just gonna go to the playlist somewhere on the screen. I don't know exactly where YouTube's gonna put this thing in the future, and look for the first episode of the second season where we are actually trying to make a guide, because a lot of things have changed since the very beginning, the first version of Depraved. So yeah, we've built all of this thing in the previous episode. We've set up like the mining operations, we set up the stables, we set up the church, log production, stone production, a little bit of food and stuff like that. So, you know, this thing is progressing nicely. Now it's time to cover the more advanced stuff. So basically we have been attacked by bandits, as you can see over here. Those guys are gonna be an issue because sooner or later they're gonna try to attack my town and they're gonna try to kill people, or they're gonna try to take my cash, which is something we need to try to avoid for now. They've made an ultimatum for us apparently. They want 225 cash. We can try to refuse and basically risk that they won't like us anymore. How sad it is. So basically, also in the last episode, a gunslinger came by. Now, gunslingers are highly advanced guys who came with weapons, alright? So basically, they don't work in any of the facilities, they don't work at the church, they don't work at the sawmill, they don't carry the goods. They are just hired guns. I'm not exactly sure what's the mechanic behind them. They just appear from time to time and you can hire them for a little bit of cash to help you defend the town. So they're like very helpful. Basically, we need to get rid of them. Also, another person who has a gun, that I am certain of that has a gun in the town, is the hunter. We can also use him to try to defend ourselves from the first bandit encampment. So basically, I'm gonna select him. As you can see, he has a weapon since he is the hunter, right? So we can try to use him. Let's put this guy over here and let's see, does anybody else has a weapon? Wait, what? Oh, this guy is a bandit. Well, how about we gonna try to shoot him? Apparently a bandit decided to come and he decided to steal something from me. Well, let's show him his place, that he's not welcome here. Murdering a guy in the middle of the town is not exactly a bright idea, simply because he will now decay, he will rot, and his body will be the, let's call it, a fire starting point for the Cholera outbreak. So I just made a mistake, so don't try to do that thing. If you see somebody that is threatening your town, try not to kill him in the middle of it, because it may backfire you very soon. But, you know, we're gonna leave this body for now for the purpose of the next episode, how to deal with different stuff. Maybe actually in this, I don't know, we're gonna see. Right, so we got those two guys over here with proper weaponry. I don't think that anybody else has a proper weapon. At least I am not aware of anybody with a proper weapon. So we need now to have a decoy, like somebody who's not armed, but can actually like do a little bit of damage, little tiny bit. Let's send them to deal with the bandits. Now, using this tactic, you're gonna certainly lose somebody, okay? I'm not using this tactic to actually like achieve super victory. The idea is that I do not want to lose the gunslinger, because like using him is gonna cripple my defenses, but I can lose the other people. Like basically at the moment when I'm recording this thing, if you're gonna lose somebody from your workforce, sooner or later a new guy will come around from the border of the map. So, you know, he can be easily replaced. The gunslinger, not exactly. Same goes for the hunter. The hunter can also be easily replaced. So Mart over here is gonna try to attack this guy. Lovert over here is gonna try to attack this guy, and in the meantime, my gunslinger and hunter are gonna follow them. And they're gonna be my main fighting force. So let's actually see what the bandits is gonna try to do as soon as I'm gonna enter their little territory they have set over here. Probably they're gonna try to start to fight. Okay, they've noticed me. This may actually not go well and for those guys, that's for sure. Okay, I've ordered my hunter and my gunslinger to try to attack those guys. Come on. Right, one guy is out. He gave up, and we're gonna try to shoot the other one. Come on, shoot him. Come on, shoot the bandit. There you go. Right. All of them are dead. Now, the good thing is that we can try to technically loot the weapons that are like left over here. However, the thing is that one of our guys is now damage, like he has been hurt, and as you can see, he's bleeding like a little cow. So we have to deal something, we have to deal somehow with this issue. Now, the thing is, as much as you develop your city, more buildings get unlocked, and we get the possibility to build something called the Doctor. The Doctor is basically a guy who will try to heal your citizens as much as he's basically capable of. I'm not exactly sure is he capable of healing the Cholera yet. I know that he's capable of healing damaged people, damaged citizens. So I'm not exactly sure they want to squeeze this thing anywhere around, and I'm actually wondering about increasing the size of my town. So let's do that. You can press this button over here, and this will increase the size of your town a little tiny bit. And by little tiny bit, I mean like, well, quite a lot actually. Right, so we get that thing out of the order. Let's try to build ourselves a nice, good working doctor. And just not to block the coal mine over here, I'm gonna try to build you maybe like this. Somewhere here. Or maybe here. Actually here. Let's build him over there. Now, the other thing is that we have the possibility to build a cemetery and the undertaker. Now, this is kinda needed because we have literally a dead corpse in the middle of the town. So we could try to build this. However, I'm not exactly sure can I be able to afford this. For example, the cemetery requires 2 metal parts from me, which I don't have. The doctor requires 2 metal parts, which I don't have. And the undertaker, who I also need to work with the cemetery, requires another metal part. So now is the question, should I try to build this thing and risk that I won't be able to build it, or try to risk a Cholera outbreak in the middle of my town? Decisions. And since I don't have the necessary parts, I have to use the town hall, as because here you have the possibility to order items from the trader when he's gonna appear. And trader is just around the corner. He's gonna come over here and he'll be more than happy to sell me the necessary goods that I require. So the problem with building resources haven't just solved, as the trader is gonna come to our town hall and provide us with necessary goods. We will lose a little bit of money, that is for sure, that is for certain. So let's see how much this is gonna damage my budget. It damaged it quite a lot, but now we have the necessary goods, so we just have to wait for the workers to build the buildings. Now, the thing is that you can set, of course, the priority level of buildings that you want to construct. So basically the idea is that I ordered them to focus mostly on the doctor for now, because we have a damaged citizen over here, he's bleeding out and he may die soon. So we want to prevent that thing from happening. The next thing that's gonna try to be is the cemetery and the undertaker. The undertaker is necessary to work with the cemetery, otherwise the cemetery will just not work. And after that, we're gonna build the shack for both of those people. And speaking of, this guy is about to die, and I need to make sure that he's close to the doctor, just in case. So he's gonna crawl slowly back to the doctor. Remember that damaged citizens won't work at their full speed, so if you see that somebody is bleeding from an attack of bandits, or from an attack of wild animals, or from other events, depending on what's gonna happen in the future of Depraved, make sure that he'll be able to make to the doctor. You don't want him to die in the middle of the city when your graveyard is full, and you won't be able to take his dead corpse to the cemetery, while his dead corpse turns actually into a Cholera outbreak. Trust me, the Cholera outbreak is actually a quite difficult thing. You may think that this is quite easy to handle, but for some people who are not experienced in this game, this could be the end, right? So, you never know. And also, we don't know exactly what future patches will bring. The Cholera can even get even more serious and deadly. I don't know. This game is still in works, as you can see. Everybody is helping to build the doctor before Lovette is gonna bleed out in the middle of the desert in front of the doctor's office. But hey, this is the best thing we can do for him now. It's a rest with time with Lovette over here, who's still crawling outside of the doctor's office. While the doctor's office is finally finished and is waiting for the new worker to come, he crawls at the almost brink of his death inside, and he prays that the doctor will arrive soon. But because he's inside, he should stop to bleed? Well, no, he won't. He's still bleeding. So the doctor should come around very soon, unless he's gonna die literally in the doctor's office, which we all hope that won't happen. However, I think it will, because the doctor is nowhere to be seen. Well, it was an honor working with you, man, but your time has come, as you just bled out. Literally probably seconds before a doctor arriving. sad story in the middle of the far, far west. However, for the purpose of this video, I decided to damage one more of my settlers, and as you can see, one over here is crawling slowly towards victory, towards the doctor's house. So basically this thing, how this thing works, when you see that one of your villagers or basically citizens of your town has this little red cross thingy above his head, that means he's damaged and he requires immediate medical attention. If you want to try to attend his needs, his health, as I saw in the previous example, will slowly decrease. When it's gonna reach 0, well, it's gonna be a sad story for him, and his adventure in the far west will end. So make sure that you will build the doctor quite early in the game, especially in the missions where we'll be surrounded with bandits or maybe the natives, just in case if you need to fight with them, because the doctor is the only person who can actually patch up your citizens, your gunslingers, later on probably your soldiers as well. The thing is with the doctor is that his work is a little bit limited because he cannot walk to damaged citizens. The damaged citizens needs to get to him. So at some point your city gets so big that you may actually consider building more than just one doctor. The doctor building is actually, I think, except for the houses, one of the few buildings that you will actually would like to consider building in more than just one. We have hired one more gunslinger, as you can see over here. However, this thing hit a budget quite a lot because the gunslingers require payment. For example, the 2 gunslingers that I have hired, they all require 25 bucks to get paid. So that goes off my balance thing. However, we still have those 2 dead corpses of the bandits over here, and we can now pick up their weapons. So a good idea would be to try to pick up the weapons with a person who is not exactly working all the time, or a person who, if you're gonna lose, won't hit too much your town. So for example, I believe the priest is one of the good ideas. If I could only locate him, there's the priest, so he can actually equip the gun if you really want to. Also, we could try to send, for example, the woman over here and order her to equip the gun as well. Since she's just a labor, if she's die, she's gonna get probably quite quick replaced with a new, freshly born citizen from the border of the map. And our good boy, Mr. Undertaker, managed to grab the dead corpse in the middle of the town before that thing rotted and become a cholera outbreak source. So thankfully, now the dead corpse is stored at the cemetery, where, well, it can lie to the very end of time, because at some point you have to clear the cemetery using this button so that you'll be able to put more dead corpses over here. And trust me, you'll do that thing at some point in your life. I decided to build quickly one more shack in the middle of the town. Remember that you can easily destroy the buildings, so you should actually, when you're playing Depraved, you should consider building some stuff around temporary, just because for some time you need that thing and you kinda need to build it immediately. Later on, it's not that big of an issue because you have so much space and so much resources that you can just build and deconstruct things whatever you wish. If you really want, you can even deconstruct the half of the town and rebuild it in a new way. That is also quite possible. Just remember that you need to stockpile a little bit of stone and wood, just in case. At some point in your town, you may actually get into this little bit of a problem that your hunter is not doing anything. Now, if you have ever played the Settlers games, this error could actually look very familiar to you. Basically, this thing, how it works. The hunter, when he goes out hunting, he gathers meat and leather. The thing is that if he won't have this space for one of those materials, he will cease to work. So basically, at some point in the game, you need to put yourself at least a warehouse or try to sell the lying around letter to make him some room so he can return to work. Otherwise, you will get quickly to the point where you have a city, you have a hunter, but the hunter for some no reason to you is just not working. So keep that thing in mind, that you will have to do that thing in order to keep the meat of production going. And the meat is necessary at the beginning for your game because the pioneers apparently eat only meat and drink water, because they're just badasses. So as soon as some of the letter disappears, the hunter that was originally not doing anything returns back to work, so you will receive meat once again. Just in case to speed up the things a little tiny bit, I've built myself another hunter house. This gives you advantage of two sides. Why are you screaming? Stop screaming. This gives you advantage on 2 sides. Basically, this is how it works. You get more food production if needed, but also you have additional firearms running around your town, because every single hunter that will be hired into your community will start the weapon. Some people will actually consider that it would be more worth it to, for example, have 5 hunters, each of them equipped with a weapon, instead of like hiring a gunslinger. But just in case, if the things will change in the future, I decided to go with the gunslingers as well. Remember that you need to build the warehouse for now for this thing to work. Those can be the things that will change in the future. Just keep that thing in mind. Also, if you see your horses standing outside of the town hall and you have a stable which is apparently not accepting those horses, remember that you can sell the horses. You need to do so because if the horse is standing outside of the stable, he will get hungry, he will get tired, and eventually he will die. And this is another source of the Cholera outbreak. So if you have horses that are standing in front of your town hall, remember that you can try to sell them. Also, you can use the gunslingers, for example, the horses, for example, for the gunslingers, in order to order them to ride around your town if you need to move them more quickly. Right, so this actually covers the second part of building a good city. Everything for now is working as intended. For the future, notice this warehouse over here will probably disappear. This lumberjack over here is gonna definitely disappear. The hunter over here will definitely disappear, and the shack over here will also definitely disappear. This is just temporary because I prefer to save a little bit of space, and I don't want to destroy the trees because buying later on the trees will hit your budget as well. So I'm gonna slowly and steady cut down the trees anyway. No need to build structures upon those trees for now, at least. Now the thing is, I need a little bit of space. The space over here has been already prepared for me. However, I could try to expand this thing a little bit more and get my hands on this green land over here, and this is quite necessary because we need to start thinking for the future notice about food. So the necessary beginning of every food chain production in the Depraved is the grain farm. This is when it comes for more advanced food production, because you can't run on the hunter all the time. At some point you will have to change your food production, and basically the grain farm is the beginning of almost every other food chain production. And the thing is that I don't have at the moment the possibility to build this thing, as it's standing richly on the border of my town, and also there's still like a little bit of items around. So I could technically build it like this, right, and save a little bit of space and then build like another farm, maybe even over here. Or I could try to do something else. What exactly we'll do, I don't know. For now, I'm gonna leave the Depraved running a little tiny bit in the background. I'll let my lumberjacks cut down those trees. I'll let my stone merchant to take the stones out of the space, so we have a nice clean space to begin with the food production. So probably in the next episode we're gonna try to cover the grain farm, the pig farm, and the if I could find it, because I kinda forgot what it was, probably the butcher, who was missing and I cannot find him. So oh, there he is. Yeah, the butcher. So basically you require the pig farm for him. To build the pig farm you require the grain farm, and for the grain farm, well, you just need a decent quality of the land in order to get like some actual decent growth. For now though, I think this is actually gonna be all I have for today's episode. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope your town actually is growing quite nicely. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, or maybe leave the developers a question on the Steam page, on the Twitter. I think they also have the Discord. I'm not actually sure. You have to check that thing on the Steam website forum page. I think, I don't know, rambling too much. It's extremely hot at my place, so I'm just gonna cut it as over here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Please subscribe a lot. I'll see you all in the next video.